Major announcement in the world of mixed martial arts. Announcement popped off. MVP Promotions, Jake Paul's company that's going to have that Ronda Rousey, Gina Carano circus, along with Francis Ngannou against Felipe Lins in a fight that nobody cares about. We just added a fight to this card, which is probably the most intriguing of them all, but another fight that largely no one should give a shit about. But we're going to watch it. And that's the fight between Nate Diaz and Mike Perry. They announced today that Nate Diaz will be fighting Mike Perry at the MVP card, or whatever they're calling it, Jake Paul's most viable promotions on May 16th. And Nate Diaz and Mike Perry are fighting. Now, maybe if this happened, I don't know, 6 years ago, people might care. Maybe if this was 6 years ago, people might give a shit. Like when they were in the UFC and these fights mattered. But this Netflix card under Jake Paul Promotions, to me, is obviously it's a cash grab. That's what it is. We know why they're fighting. But you got two guys that haven't fought in MMA in years. Mike Perry hasn't fought in an MMA cage in 5 years. April 10th, 2021 to be exact. So by the time he gets into that ring or cage with Nate Diaz, it will be the first time he has fought in an MMA in 5 years. What does that say? What does that say? Is he training in MMA? Because he sure as shit has been fighting in BKFC for the last number of years. And he did have that boxing match with Jake Paul that he lost. Nate Diaz had a boxing match with Jake Paul that he lost. But they put this fight on, and it means literally nothing. Is it going to make us watch it? Sure, it's on Netflix. We all have Netflix, so we're not going to pay for it. We already pay for Netflix. But does this fight mean a goddamn thing? It means nothing. And this my biggest headache with this entire circus with Jake Paul is that there's nothing that's showing that they're looking to make this a business. Right? There's nothing showing that they want to make this a real competition with the UFC. They just want to put on one-off events. And one-off events don't mean dick. They're not, it's not a, it's less than a competitive sport now. It's a show. And so you have this Rousey Carano fight, which means nothing. We're going to watch it though, but it means nothing because the winner, what's that? They're both done after they fight. They're not going to fight again. Ngannou against Felipe Lins. Who the fuck cares? Ngannou, I mean, he may have made a whole lot of money, but his legacy as a fighter is in the toilet. And I'm not saying he shouldn't have left to go get paid a whole bunch of money and get his head knocked off in boxing matches. By all means, go ahead, make your $50 million. But as an MMA fighter, his stock is in the toilet. Nobody cares. Could we possibly see another fight made maybe between he and John Jones under MVP Promotions? That would be interesting. That actually would be interesting. But again, you have a promotion that doesn't have belts, that doesn't have weight classes, that doesn't have anything. They're just putting together a fight. So not really an organization of MMA. They're just an organization that promotes fights, as they do with boxing. But at least their boxing matches have meaning. When you remove the Jake Paul component, these boxing cards actually have real boxers who actually box for a living, and there are belts that are on the line, and these fights matter. For this, you got 3 fights right now. It's May 16th. We are March 17th. Who else will be on this card? Who else? Are we going to have a 3-fight MMA card? Is he going to make this a combination boxing MMA card? What is actually going to happen here? So we're going to have, I mean, I don't know. I don't know yet. We don't know. But you have this card now that you're putting together. And at the end of the day, it means literally zero. Let's talk about all this. Welcome back to another edition of Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Hit the like button, subscribe, follow us on Instagram, Combat Corner Fight Network. Appreciate y'all continue supporting the channel. I got to wonder out loud, what does the BKFC think of this? You know, I know Mike Perry had teased some stuff that was going to be happening, but I thought it would be in the world of, I don't know, bare knuckle. Seems like it's not in the world of bare knuckle. Seems like Mike Perry is able to do whatever he wants, and the BKFC can't seem to do shit about it. And he can box, he can do MMA, he can do whatever it is he wants, and they're just gonna have to deal with it. What happens if Nate Diaz beats Mike Perry in an MMA match? I mean, these are the things that have to be considered by the BKFC when having this guy, allowing him, if they've even allowed him, I don't even know. They may have told him no. Who the hell knows? BKFC can be pretty picky about certain things, and I mean, whether it's their champions fighting in other organizations, and I understand it because you don't want to have your champion get beat in another organization. You don't want to have your champion get beat in a boxing match. In this case, you don't want to have your champion get beat in an MMA match. Now, could Nate Diaz have a complete stand up fight for 5 rounds with Mike Perry? Absolutely. He but if he wants to win, you would think that he'd look to take Mike Perry to the ground because that's where Nate Diaz has a very, very large advantage, and that is in the world of jiu-jitsu. But if he wants to do stand up the whole time, then why not just have a BKFC fight with Nate Diaz? Why not just have Dave Feldman call up Nate Diaz and say, "Let's do this in bare knuckle, and let's go"? I'm sure they could. I'm sure they could figure out how to pay him. Although I don't even know what Jake Paul's paying these people. Like the paycheck must be crazy. But we have a fight again that means nothing, that leads to nothing, that doesn't create anything. And that's the biggest question that I have with this MVP promotion deal is are they trying to create an actual MMA organization? If they are, I'm all for it. I would love it. Create competition because the UFC right now is dropping the ball big time. Now, these fights on this card, realistically, don't mean shit. None of them has value. Ngannou fighting Lins. I mean, if Ngannou doesn't win in the first like 2 minutes, he should be ashamed of himself. Ronda Rousey and Cronus, it's going to be a hug fest. They're going to look at each other a whole lot. I wonder if they'll be pulling punches like if it was WWE. And then of course this one right here could be a slobber knocker. But if whoever wins, does it really matter? No, it doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. It's just a fight. So if they want to create divisions and have real fights and have contenders and rankings and signed fighters, then I'm all for it. But other than that, I mean, this is just a circus show. And they're just going to make the circus bigger. And that's what this fight is, another circus show that makes the circus a little bit bigger. I don't know what else they can put on this thing to make it more of a circus. But I do got to wonder what the BKFC is thinking right now. I do have to wonder because this is not what I expected. This guy won't fight Dave Mundell for the welterweight strap. He won't fight Lorenzo Hunt for the middleweight strap. I'm sorry, not the middle. He won't fight Mundell for the middleweight strap. He won't fight Lorenzo Hunt for the light heavyweight strap. So who exactly does Mike Perry want to fight in BKFC? Does he just want to fight a bunch of guys that he's bigger than, like Jeremy Stevens? Does he just want to fight a bunch of guys he knows he's going to beat? Because I mean, realistically, there hasn't been a guy that's fought him in BKFC that I've expected him to lose. Like I'm being real. Mike Perry's world is this. This is Mike Perry's world. BKFC. When Dave Feldman created the BKFC, I'll tell you what, Mike Perry. This is the world for Mike Perry. He eats punches like crazy. He has an iron chin. He doesn't get knocked out. He can take a beating. And when you look at his career in the BKFC, I mean, you look at the guys he's fought, whether it's Julian Lane and Michael Venom Page, Luke Rockhold, Eddie Alvarez, Thiago Alves. There's not a fighter in here that you expected him. Like I didn't expect him to lose to Michael Venom Page. This is not Michael Venom Page's world. MVP is not, and that was the closest fight he's had. But MVP is not a slugger. He's a precision striker, and in UFC that works. Heck, in boxing that can work, in kickboxing that can work, in bare knuckle fighting, not so much. You know, he beat Julian Lane, he beat Luke Rockhold. Luke Rockhold, I expect him to beat Luke Rockhold down. I expect him to beat Eddie Alvarez. I expect him to beat Thiago Alves. I expect him to beat Jeremy Stephens. Like all these fights, it would have been surprising if he lost because this is his area. This is what he excels in. It's part of the reason he came over to this because he wasn't doing well in the world of the MMA. He was getting beat. He lost 4 of his last 5 fights in the UFC. The only guy he beat was Mickey Gall. He lost to Daniel Rodriguez, Tim Means, Jeff Neal, Vicente Luque. You know, he was trying to get beat by everybody because he has no ground skills, realistically. And that's how you can make him that's how you can counteract Mike Perry's toughness, aggressiveness, physicality, all that stuff is take him to the ground. You take him to the ground, he has no chance. So Nate Diaz, if Nate Diaz wants to stand and look across from Mike Perry and not take him to the ground, then this will be fun. This will be fun. But again, it doesn't mean anything. I'd much rather see this in a bare knuckle fight. I'd much rather see this in a bare knuckle fight. But the circus of these sports now, it's like I'm a combat sports fan, and I'm getting more and more frustrated with the circus. You know, I like rankings. I like people fighting to get the belts. I like people fighting and going through tasks to move up the chain and so forth, and get to that point where they fight for a title. That's why you fight, to me. Obviously for money as well. You're prize fighters, but you want to have a whole bunch of prize fights that don't mean shit in terms of legacy as a fighter. I mean, I don't know. I get both aspects of prize fighting and legacy and so forth. And to me, it's like you should want to be the best in your sport. The best in your sport, period. I think that would be everyone's goal. And that's where my mentality with a guy like Francis Ngannou is. He doesn't want to be the best in his sport. He wants to be paid. And I understand that too. But he's also lost like his entire career in the MMA world at this point. Because, yeah, he's probably going to beat Felipe Lins. Who cares? But are we ever going to maybe Jake Paul is setting up an opportunity to put John Jones against, because Mike Perry is business partners with John Jones. Sorry, not Mike Perry, Jake Paul. Jake Paul's looking to put John Jones in a fight with Francis Ngannou. Maybe Jake Paul will pay both these guys $30-40 million to fight. Maybe he will. Mike Perry is business partners with John Jones in dirty boxing. These relationships exist. So maybe that's the goal. I wouldn't complain if that happened. That'd be great. That would be a fight worth watching, like a real fight worth watching, because even if they're a little bit older, they never fought. And a belt, you don't need to have a belt on the line because Ngannou was champion, Jones was champion. Neither guy ever lost their belt. So those are my thoughts. This is another circus, but it is what it is. We'll all watch it, as always. Y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments. What do you think of this matchup? Do you like it? Do you not like it? Let me know your thoughts. Appreciate y'all. This is Combat Corner, powered by Come On Now, the podcast. Come on now.
I've been down through the blood and the sweat. Guarantee you can know I'm a threat. I've been down through the blood and the sweat. And I ain't close to being done yet. I'm going all in. Yeah, I'm going all in. And I ain't close to being done yet. I'm going all in. Yeah. They know I'm going all in. Through the blood and the sweat. Y'all know we ain't close to being done yet. I'm going all in. I've been down from the jump. Ain't no love lost, we just really doing us. Go and take your seat, looking silly getting up. Y'all know what it is, let me tell them what it was. It was 24/7.